Okay, let's take a look at our first problem. We got 7x squared minus 31x plus 20. Now we want to factor it. Well, this is the key number because we got x squared x, no x, and there's a number in front of our x squared. Key number, we take the number at the beginning times the number at the end, ignoring signs. So we got 7 times 20 gives us 140. And we'll come up with our three columns. P column, an S column, and a D column. In the P column, we write down all products give us 140. We got 1 times 140, 2 times 80, 4 times 35. Yeah, 5 times 28. 6, no. 7 times 20. 8, don't think so. 9, no. 10 times 14. We add those together. That gives us 141, 82, 39, 33, 27, 24. Subtract them. Smaller from larger. 140 minus 1 is 139. 80 minus 2 is 78. 31. 23, 13, and 4. Now, the number we're looking for is a number in a middle term, which is 31, which is right here, which means we use 4 and 35. So we got 7x squared plus 20. And we're going to use those two numbers to rewrite the number in a middle term. The larger one, which is the 35, will always be the same sign as the middle term. Middle term's negative, so we're going to have negative 35x. Number are circled in the difference column, D for different signs. So if this one's negative, this one has to be positive. Okay, so then I'm going to factor by grouping. Group first two terms together, group last two terms together. First two have a 7x in common, and that gives me x minus 5. The last two terms have a 4 in common. And that doesn't work. Is there another 31? Let's see. 1 times 140, 2 times 80, 3, no, 4 times 35, 5 times 28, 6, no, 7 times 20, 8, no, 9, no, 10, well, since it doesn't work, then it must be prime. It's close, it's a sign, but interesting. Okay. Take a look at our second problem. We got negative 9x plus 7 minus 7 equals negative 8 times x plus 2. Now this is a linear equation, so I'm going to solve it. I'll get rid of these parentheses. So I got negative 9x plus 7. Those parentheses weren't actually doing anything. Minus 7 equals distributive property. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. 7 minus 7 drops away, so we got negative 9x is equal to negative 8x minus 16. Second step, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Third step, get everything with a variable on one side, numbers on the other. So take negative 8x over, and it becomes a positive 8x. Negative 9x plus 8x gives us negative 1x, equals negative 16. Last step, divide both sides by a number in front of your x, which is a negative 1. And we get x is equal to 16. Hold on. I'm in the middle of recording, but sorry. Oh, where's now it's gone? What? Okay. This isn't technical problems after technical problems. I'm not sure why this is going so slow. Okay. 16. Let's take a look at number 3. And let me close IE, that might help. Okay. So I got 80 minus x over 9 equals x over 7. Okay. First step, get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Multiply everything by the LCM of all your denominators. 9 and 7 would multiply everything by 63. Okay, that would give us 0, 4, 2, 48, 5040, hopefully. This, 9 and 63, that goes away. This becomes 7, so we got minus 7x. And 7 and 63, that goes away, and this becomes 9, so we got 9x. So we got 5040, and I'll take the negative 7x to the right side, and becomes a positive 7x. 9x plus 7x is 16x, and then divide both sides by 16. And this simplifies. Definitely both of those by 4, probably more than that. But let me see, 1, okay, that's 2, 24, 60. Where's the calculator at? These numbers are getting huge. Okay. Let me just simplify it on my calculator. 5040 divided by 16. 315. That goes into it perfect. Okay, so let me check that. 315. Yeah, that's one of the answers. It's always a good sign that you get that. Okay, number 4. We got x minus 16 over negative 8 plus x plus 7 over 7 equals x plus 5. Okay, we want to get rid of the fractions, so we'll multiply everything by the LCM of all our denominators. And I notice I got a negative here, so we'll multiply by negative 56. So we'll multiply that by x minus 16 over negative 8. We'll take negative 56 times x plus 7 over 7. We'll take negative 56 times x, and we'll take negative 56 times 5. Well, negative 8, negative 56 both divisible by negative 8, so that goes away, and negative 56 divided by negative 8 is 7. Here, 7 and 56 both divisible by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1, 56 divided by 7 is 8. So we're left with 7 times x minus 16 minus 8 times x plus 7 equals negative 56x minus 56 times 5 is 280. Now, distributive property, 7 times x is 7x minus 7 times 16 is 112. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. Equals negative 56x minus 280. Combined to get a like term, 7x minus 8x is negative 1x. Negative 112 and negative 56 gives us negative 168. Okay, get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other. So I'll take the negative 56x over to the left side, and I'll take the negative 168 over to the right side. So we got negative 1x plus 56x equals negative 280 plus 168. So we got 55x and negative 280 plus 168 gives us negative 112. Divide both sides by 55. What that simplifies. No, it doesn't. Negative 112 or 55. Yeah, that's a good sign. Always a good sign when you see your answer in there. Okay. Now I'm going to, I guess I can put it up here. Our next problem, number 5. We got 10 over x plus or equals 5 over 2x plus 30. Now it says write the values and make the denominator 0. To begin with, if I put 0 in for x, then I'd get a 0 in denominator. I can't have that. So the restriction on it is x cannot equal 0. Now this is a rational equation, and so we'll multiply everything by the LCM of all our denominators. We got x and 2x, so our LCM will be 2x. So I'll multiply that by the 10 over x. I'll multiply that by the 5 over 2x. And I'll multiply by the 30. Those x's would cancel. And I got 2 times 10, which is 20. And here these two x's would cancel, and I'd have 5. Plus 2 times 30 gives us 60x. Take the 5 over the left side, becomes a negative 5. 20 minus 5 is 15, equals 60x. Divide both sides by 60. And 15 over 60 gives us 1/4. Doesn't really look like 60, but it is. And let's see, 1/4, is that one of our answers? B. Okay, always a good sign. So let's look at the next one. I want to solve this by factoring. I guess that was number 5. Okay, number 6. We got x squared plus 4x minus 45 equal to 0. Well, I'm going to use the PSD method on this. Reason why it's a PSD method is because we have x squared x, no number in front of our x squared. PSD, we take the number at the end, ignoring signs, 45, and we come up with our 3 columns. P column, we list all products, give us 45. We got 1 times 45, 3 times 15, 5 times 9. Want to add those. 1 plus 45 is 46, 3 plus 15 is 18, 5 plus 9 is 14. Subtract them. 45 minus 1 is 44, 15 minus 3 is 12, 9 minus 5 is 4. Now the number we're looking for is a number in our middle term, which is a 4, which is right here, which means we use 5 and 9. Now our larger number that we're using, which is the 9, will always be same sign as the middle term, which is positive. Number I circled in a difference column, D for different signs, so if this one's positive, this one has to be negative. Now, zero factor property says you get 0 on one side, you factor the other side, you set each factor equal to 0. So I'll set x minus 5 equal to 0, and I'll set x plus 9 equal to 0, which gives us x equals 5 and x is equal to negative 9. And those would be our answers. Now, let me clear this all my work here, because I need to work number 7 now. This is going extremely slow. As we do it on my regular computer. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit, because I need to clear to the end. Maybe I'll just close it. That might be easier. There we go. And now I'll do a new and choose 1200 by 1200. There we go. When I work shorter problems, that actually works pretty fast to clear it that way. Obviously not today, though. Number 7. Okay. What am I... It says my brush size is 2. I'm going to start just saying bad words here in a minute. Brush size is 2. Oh. How in the world did I get up to 1 to 100%? Okay. Okay, 7. It's going to be one of those days. 3x plus 4 squared is equal to 10. This is a square root property. Whenever you have something squared equal to something else, then you can apply the square root property. And what that says is you drop your squared and you put plus or minus square root around the other side. Now 10 doesn't break down any because 10 is 2 times 5. So I'll take the 4 over and it becomes a negative 4. And then I'll divide both sides by 3. And those 3's would cancel, and we got x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus square root of 10 over 3. Let's see. Number 8. We got x minus 3 squared equals negative 64. This is again the square root property. Whenever you have something squared equal to something else, you can drop your squared and put a plus or minus square root around the other side. Well, we got negative 1 times 8 times 8. Remember, the square root, we're looking for a pair of somethings. Here's a pair of 8s, so those are going to come out in front as a single 8. And remember, a negative comes out as an I. So this gives us x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus 8i. And we're trying to get x by itself, so I take negative 3 over, and we got 3 plus or minus 8i. And that's our answer. Number 9. We got x squared plus 5x plus 5 equals 0. And it says solve it using the quadratic formula. Well, quadratic formula, we have to identify our a, b, and c. A is whatever number's in front of your x squared. B is whatever number's in front of your x. And c is your constant term, your number at the end. Our quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's always a good idea if you mess up on signs to go through and replace all of your variables with parentheses before you plug in your numbers. If you don't mess up on signs, then it's probably not as important. Notice everything else has remained exactly the same. All I did is replace the variables with parentheses. Now we said B was 5. We said A was 1. And we said C was 5. So we just went through and plugged in everything that we identified. So we got -5 plus or minus square root 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 1 times 5 is 20 over 2, which gives us -5 plus or minus square root 25 minus 20 is 5 over 2. And that's our answer. Okay, number 10. We got square root of x plus 5 equals 7. Well, this is a radical equation. Our steps for solving a radical equation is because you get a radical by itself. Well, the square root is by itself on the left side. Then we square both sides. So square that and square that. Now the square root and the second power cancel each other. So we've got x plus 5 equals 49. Take the 5 over, becomes a -5, and we end up with x is equal to 44. And that's our answer. Let me do a new. Let me close that actually. And I got 1200 again. Zoom on, get the zoom correct. There we go. Now let's look at our next problem. This is just painting super slow as I scroll. Got the absolute value of 6x plus 5 equals to 8. Well, this is a absolute value equation. And to solve an absolute value equation, you want to get the absolute value by itself, which we have. Then we identify what's inside our absolute values are P, and the other sides are Q. Our formula says P is equal to Q, and P is equal to -Q. So everywhere I have a P, I'll plug in 6x plus 5, and everywhere I have a Q, I'll plug in 8. So I got 6x plus 5 is equal to 8, and 6x plus 5 is equal to -8. And then I want to solve this. So I take 5 over, becomes a negative, or you don't skip that many steps. I take 5 over, becomes a -5. 8 minus 5 is 3. Divide both sides by 6, the number in front of our x, and we get 3/6 or 1/2. Here I'll take the 5 over, so we got 6x equals -8 minus 5. 6x equals -13. Divide both sides by 6, and you got -13 over 6. And those will be your answers. Okay, number 12. We got the absolute value of x plus 6 is less than 4. Okay. Well, the absolute value is by itself, and this is the less than case. So I'll identify what's inside the absolute values are P, and the other sides are Q. The less than case, you use this formula. -Q is less than P is less than +Q. So we'll plug in everything we identified. We said Q was 4, so we got -4 is less than P, which was x plus 6, is less than +Q, which was 4. Now our goal is to get x by itself in the middle, so I'll take 6 over the other two sides. So we got -4 minus 6, and take 6 over here too. It becomes a -6. So that gives us -10 is less than x is less than -2. And again, what you're seeing me circle here is what I'm looking for on a midterm. You don't have to graph it, you don't have to do all that other stuff. Just what you see me come up with is what I'm looking for. Okay, 13. Let me start a new one here. 13. Got f of x is equal to x squared minus 3. And we want to find f of x minus 4. Well, evaluating functions is always the same. You go through, you replace your variables with parentheses, and whatever's inside the parentheses right here is automatically what you plug in over here. So put in x minus 4 here. Now x minus 4 squared we have to rewrite as x minus 4 times x minus 4. Multiply those together. X times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. So that gives us x squared minus 8x plus 13. And that's our answer. Number 14. We got a piecewise function. Looks like we got f of x equals x minus 1 and negative x minus 1. And this is if x is greater than negative 3. And this one must be if x is less than or equal to negative 3. And we want to find f of negative 5. What you do is you look at what's numbers inside your parentheses here, and this is always your x value. So we got x is equal to negative 5. Now you want to mentally plug that into your conditions over here. You don't want to write this down. So put negative 5 here and negative 5 here. Then you ask yourself, is negative 5 greater than negative 3, or is negative 5 less than or equal to negative 3? It's actually less than, which means we'll plug it into this piece. So we're going to have negative, and I'll put in negative 5 for the x, minus 1. So we got negative, negative 5, negative 1 is negative 6, which gives us a positive 6. 15. Well, luck's going better now. Let's see how many we have. Okay. Famous last words. Watch it not upload here. Okay, f of x is equal to 3x minus 2 and 2x plus 3. And this is if x is less than 1. This one must be x is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, and we want to find f of 1. Again, whatever number's inside your parentheses here is your x, so they're telling you x is equal to 1. We're going to mentally plug that into the conditions over here, so put 1 here and 1 here. Then you ask yourself, is 1 less than 1, or is 1 greater than or equal to 1? It's not less than, it's not greater than, but it is equal to. So we're going to plug into this piece. So we're going to have 2 times 1 plus 3, which gives us 5. 16. Got 2, negative 3, and negative 7, 8. And it says to find the slope. Well, I want to label these. This is my first point, so I'll label this as x1, y1. This is our second point, so I'll label that as x2, y2. And we've got a formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's always a good idea to go through and put parentheses in for your variables before you plug in your numbers. Y2 we said was 8. Y1 we said is negative 3. X2 is negative 7, and X1 is 2. So we got 8. Negative negative gives us a positive, so we got 8 plus 3. Negative 7, negative 2 is negative 9, so that gives us 11 over negative 9, or negative 11 ninths. And let me start a new. What problem was that? That was 16. My dad used to watch this show, kind of a stupid show. It was Hee Haw, and a guy would get on every week and sing, "Went for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all." That's the way it seems like recording's been recently. Okay, passing through 1, -8, and -7 and 8. Okay, what do they want? Find the equation line. Okay, we got 3 steps. First step is to find m. And we're going to use the same formula we just looked at. We got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I want to label these. This will be x1, y1. That's my first point. This will be x2. This will be y2. That's my second point. So I'll plug in what I identified. Well, y2 we said was 8. Y1 is -8. X2 is -7, and X1 is 1. So a negative gives us a positive, so we got 8 plus 8. -7, -1 is -8. So we got 16 over -8, which gives us m is equal to -2. Now step 2. We want to plug in the given point for x and y, and it doesn't matter which one you pick. I'll pick this first one here. I'll plug this in for x, and I'll plug this in for y. So y is -8, m we just said was -2, and x is 1. Plus b, and we want to solve for b. So we got -8 is equal to -2 plus b. Take the -2 over, it becomes a +2. And we get b is equal to -6. A lot of people forget to write the answer down. We plug in m from step 1, which is -2. We plug in b from step 2, which is -6. And that's our answer. And we start a new page. Okay. $1,200. Let me change that to $3,600. That should allow me some scrolling down room. And we'll look at number 18. It's passing through 4, 5. I don't know why my pen is not picking up certain in perpendicular to the line. Y equals 4x plus 7. Step 1. We want to find m. Our first step within that says to write the given line in slope-intercept form. So we want to solve for y. It's already solved for y. Our second step says to identify the slope. If you got it in slope-intercept form, your slope is whatever number is in front of your x. So slope is 4. And C. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. So I'm going to start with a 4, and I'm going to write it in fraction form. So I put it as 4 over 1. Flip it. That's the reciprocal part. So 4 over 1 becomes 1 over 4. And then change its sign and becomes -1/4. That's the negative part. So negative reciprocal is you write it in fraction form, flip it, change its sign. So the m we're trying to find is going to be -1/4. Step 2. Plug in the given point for x and y. This is x and this is y. So we'll put 5 in there. And m we just said was -1/4 times x, which is 4, plus b. Those 4's cancel. We got 5 is equal to -1 plus b. And we're solving for b, so I take -1 over and becomes a +1. And we get b is equal to 6. Step 3. Write your answer. M we said was -1/4, so we got y is equal to -1/4 x plus b, which is 6. And that would be our answer. Now their answers are kind of weird. They write it in point slope form. But what you just saw me do is what I'm looking for on the midterm. I would take either, but 19. We got f of x is equal to negative 4x plus 2 and g of x is equal to 5x plus 8. And they're wanting us to find composition G and F. Okay, so they're wanting us to find this right here. Now, composition of G and F is equal to G of F. And this is just evaluating a function. You ignore that F, that's G of something. So we're going to go to our G of X, and everywhere I have an X, I put in a parentheses. Now, whatever is inside this parentheses is automatically what you put in here. So I'll put F in there. But F is equal to negative 4x plus 2. So this becomes 5 times negative 4x plus 2 plus, I think that's an 8. There we go. 5 times negative 4x is negative 20x. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 8, which gives us negative 20x plus 18. Number 20. We got f of x is equal to 8x plus 5 over 3. And it says to find the inverse. So let's go through our steps. First step is to replace f of x with y. So we got y is equal to 8x plus 5 over 3. Second step is to interchange x and y. So we got x is equal to 8y plus 5 over 3. Third step is to solve for y. Well, I'll multiply both sides by 3 here. So I got 3 times x and 3 times 8y plus 5 over 3. And those 3's would cancel. So we got 3x is equal to 8y plus 5. Take the 5 over, we got 3x minus 5 is equal to 8y. Divide both sides by a number in front of your y, which is 8, and we get 3x minus 5 over 8 equals y. And the fourth step is throw my computer on the ground in anger. Replace our y with our inverse notation. So our inverse is equal to 3x minus 5 over 8, or you could write it into slope-intercept form if you wanted. So that'd be 3/8. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Stay calm, you're just about done. No need to throw the computer on the ground. 3/8 x minus 5/8. I get frustrated with my computer, but I wouldn't actually do that. Okay. How do they write it? Oh, they write it as a single fraction. So, not a very pretty review. I've done better reviews where I had less technical problems, but hopefully that helps you with your question. Hopefully I haven't made any mistakes with all the glitches that's been going on here. But anyway,